What do E.T.s use for money? Now there's a question. Let's ponder that. Let's put on our thinking caps and muse a little bit. Hi there, crypto fans. Hi there, remote viewing fans. Hi there, UFO disclosure fans. Dick Allgire here. Beautiful day at the studio at Ethereum Place. All right, E.T. disclosure is underway. It's kind of a soft rollout. They're admitting it. They're here. They've been here. They created us, all right? And that truth is about to come out. So the question is, will we engage in interstellar commerce with E.T.? And if so, what will be the unit of exchange? What does E.T. use for money? All right, let's think about this step by step. First of all, let's consider money. What is money? Money is energy. So you work, you build, you create, you transform, you use physical labor, and then you assemble that energy into something that you have produced, and you create money to exchange that pent-up energy. So money is energy. Here's the problem with E.T. E.T.s have unlimited energy. Now we're going to talk about their energy, their computational skill, and their ability to transform matter. Let's begin with energy. Fusion energy is no big deal. We're on the verge of fusion energy, and we're a very primitive race. E.T. has 0-point energy. They may very well have cracked antimatter, and they may be using some form of dimensional energy. And speaking of dimensional energy, that reminds me of a remote viewing I did once on an E.T. target where I saw a star field, and I had the realization, I don't know if this is true, I don't know if I was comprehending it correctly, but the idea that came into my mind was that stars are not balls of fusion energy out in space. Stars, in this realization, I realized that stars are portals to another dimension. And that was an interesting thought, that stars are a segue to another dimension and can be used as an energy form. All right, I'm digressing. Let's get back to computational skills, matter manipulation, and energy. All right, so the E.T. has quantum computing skills, obviously. They may be post-quantum. We can't even conceive of the computing ability of E.T.s. So that kind of rules out digital blockchain, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. Okay, computation, matter manipulation. E.T.s seem to be able to, and we're doing this in the background. This has gone underground. Nanotechnology, 3D printing, molecular assembly, robotics. So if E.T. has unlimited energy, 3D printing, nanotechnology, molecular assembly, and robotics, that changes the concept of work, which in itself changes the concept of money. All right, computation, matter manipulation. Now let's get to gold. With due respect to Zecharia Sitchin, his theory was that E.T. came here because gold was scarce and the E.T. needed gold to do something to their atmosphere. They couldn't get it, they could only get it at Earth, and they needed human beings to be their gold-digging slaves. I'm not buying that. Like I said, all due respect to Zecharia Sitchin, but gold was used throughout humanity due to its scarcity, its portability. Yeah, it's rare, it's portable, and it's chemically inert. It has been a good form of money. We used gold, barter, gold, money, seashells, hides, beaver pelts, dried food, dried beef. Okay, then we got to fiat currency, which has had a pretty good run for about a century, and that's about to come to an end. All right, so if E.T.s aren't using gold as money because they can transmute elements, because they can mine asteroids, maybe they're using little bits of gold for like switches, connectors, and relays, which is where we use it for a lot of our technology. But the E.T. technology may be far beyond that. They might not even need gold. So E.T. is not going to be lugging gold around the universe as a form of money. Sorry, Peter Schiff. Sorry, all you gold bugs. Which brings us to blockchain. What's blockchain is an interesting form of currency. The problem is E.T. has unlimited energy, so proof of work on a blockchain like Bitcoin, proof of work goes poof because you have unlimited energy and computing power to throw at it. It also, quantum computing breaks the cryptology. So proof of work in cryptology isn't going to work if ETs are using it, because that's a snap. That's very, very fundamentally easy stuff for them. So that kind of rules out blockchain. They may use a form of hash graph, which is the over-the-horizon blockchain that we're going to be using. They may use a quantum form of hash graph that uses entanglement-based ledgers. Entanglement-based ledgers would have an instant consensus across star systems, because you have quantum entanglement where a particle here is resonating with a particle on the other side of the universe, and what happens here happens there, so you can have instant consensus without latency. Interesting concept. Blockchain, by the way, predates human civilization. Now, some people are going to go, hold on, Dick, what do you mean blockchain predates our civilization? There have been other civilizations here, and as a civilization evolves on this earth, technology is rolled out. Some of it we discover, a lot of it we don't. It's parsed out to us. So blockchain is an evolutionary step in economics of this world. It was introduced to us at this stage of our development. There was no Satoshi Nakamoto. That's a fable. That's a story made up. There's no Satoshi Nakamoto. Blockchain is an evolutionary step to bring us up into open association with ET. All right, so what would they use if nothing has value because anything can be made with unlimited energy, manipulation of matter, robotics, computational skills beyond, AI beyond AI? They can make anything, so nothing has value. What would have value? What would have value to an ET would be something that is unique. And now we get to the human soul, and souls as a fungible commodity. Whew, now we're getting in the deep end. It may be that human beings on this earth have novel conscious states, and the novelty of our conscious states, the experience of humans, is what is of value, and in essence becomes a commodity. So can a soul become an asset, and our souls a form of currency? Some people do not want to consider that. On the other hand, maybe this is just a zoo, and they're the zookeepers, and they look at us and they see us like along the lines of a marsupial mole. Like, these guys are dumb. We don't really need to. We don't want to interact with their consciousness. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think? What do ETs use for money? Are ETs using blockchain? Is distributed ledger technology going to allow us to engage in commerce with ET, or will it be something totally different? I'll listen to your thoughts below. Thank you. Join me at ffgrv.com. This is the kind of thing we talk about. We are preparing people to engage in the new financial system that is going to change everything. Fiat currency is going to be out the window. We're going to distributed ledger technology. It may be a limited time in human civilization, but it is going to be a thing at this stage of our civilization. And that's the type of thing we talk about at ffgrv.com. We've got a list of cryptocurrencies that will make millionaires. It's called the 200 Millionaires list. See it today at ffgrv.com. And give me your thoughts on what kind of money ETs use. Aloha.